Alright guys, I'm trying to shoot a video and I keep getting text messages which stops the video, which I don't understand why it does that. It should just keep recording unless I want to talk to whoever it is. But I had something happen in traffic that I wanted to bring up and have a little conversation about, because this happens and there's a lot of people that don't understand the whole concept behind it. And it's basically when you are sitting in traffic and you have the police that turn their lights on to go around traffic and go through the light or the stop sign or whatever it is they're trying to get through. And you have people that complain about it because they feel that the police should sit in line like everybody else does. Now, 90% of the time, these people are wrong. And before you go and start getting your panties in a wad, there's a reason why. 90% of the time, the police are doing this legally. And I'll explain that. The other 10%, they're just doing it because they don't want to sit in traffic. Now, I'll explain what this is. Officers that go through lights and traffic with their lights on or sirens on or just their lights on are primarily going code 2. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that means they're going to a location or trying to get somewhere or follow someone without lights and sirens. Essentially, it's expediting without lights and sirens. And I'll give you an example of that. If you're being robbed, robbery in progress, but let's say it's like a warehouse or something like that where there's no traffic. Even if there is traffic, you don't want to alert who's ever there that you're coming. So what you do is you get near that location and turn off your lights and sirens, or you will actually go the entire way, just expedite it without lights and sirens. This is to keep them from knowing that you're coming, so they stay at the location. Same deal when you've been robbed. If you've been robbed, there's no expediting as far as lights and sirens. But depending on how dedicated the officer is, they will expedite without lights and sirens. And basically what this means is code 2 is the officer in retrospect is basically following all of the traffic laws that they normally do, or they're normally supposed to, just like you do. The only difference is that they will speed faster than what they normally do, or they will speed faster than you are. And the reason for this is because, again, they're expediting without lights and sirens. Of course, you obviously can't expedite too fast without lights and sirens, so which is why it's code 2. Now, when the officer's stuck in traffic and they're going to either one of those situations, they can't sit there in traffic going to a location. And here's an idea that you can think of. And that is, if you're on the other end, that a person that's being robbed or have been robbed, would you like the police be sitting in a traffic line that's about half a mile long waiting? Or would you like them to turn their lights and sirens on and go around the traffic and come to your location? If you're in traffic, you'll say no. If you're on the other end of that robbery, then yes, you're going to want them to do that. Now, the other 10% that actually just turn their lights on and do that, they're doing that. They're illegally doing that. But here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff the police can do that you don't know if they're doing it legally or not. You don't know if an officer is going code 2 or just being an ass. Or you don't know if an officer is actually doing something legally or not. Because you don't have a radio in your car to know if that officer's on call. You don't know if that officer is off duty. You don't know. So all you can do is sit there and moan and complain. That's all you can do, because you don't know if they are actually needed to do that or not. But that also comes with a double-edged sword, because you don't, again, most of the time you're assuming, you know, they're just doing it to be an ass. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're doing it to be an ass. More than likely, more times out of 10, depending on your area, obviously, they could be, like if you're in not a heavy crime area, but a moderately crime area, where I won't say dedicated officers, but officers that want to run their lights and sirens, because I mean, anyone that goes to be the police, they love to hit, you want to hit the lights and sirens. That's one of the main reasons you go through the hell, oh good Jesus, you go through the hell of the training and the paperwork you have to do daily, and the interactions with the people that don't care about what you have to say, or your authority, or assume that you're automatically one of the bad cops and treat you like that. They put up with that. I mean, you have to run lights and sirens and do this. I mean, you got to understand, at their point of view, like I tell other people, hey, look, that officer could have just got off of dealing with an accident, and you're being an ass to him because they pulled you over for speeding. He just dealt with an accident that caused speeding. Or this person just had to deal with a person that was that almost died, stupid, that almost died, that could have died, that almost caused an accident, and now he's on your situation, and now he's trying his best, depending on the officer, obviously, their personality, but they're trying their best to try to make a good situation out of a bad one because they have to pull you over, and you're just treating them like a complete ass. So, I mean, being able to run lights and sirens is, I feel, is a perk compared to all the crap that they have to put up with. I mean, I'm pretty much a manager, assistant manager at my job, and there's so much paperwork behind the scenes. It puts life to shame. Okay, so when you sit there and you complain about an officer doing stuff like that, hey, if they're not doing anything that brought safety, not doing anything far outside of their means, I won't say forget about it. I just say leave them alone. If you want to complain, complain. Because, I mean, even you get on every day, you get up, you go to work, you come home, and that's it. Like, let's say if you are a regular job, get up, go to work, clock in, do whatever you got to do, clock out. Officers got to be at work early to prep themselves, prep their vehicles, paperwork, meetings, and this is before they even go on duty. Go through duty, throughout their duty, even if nothing goes on the entire day, they have paperwork that they have to do. After duty, they have paperwork. An officer doesn't just go to work and then come back. An officer has to go to work, paperwork, prep, get off duty. Even if they're off duty, say they clock out, they still have paperwork to do. They still got pre-prep. Some officers will pre-prep their stuff for the next day and still have to come in early to prep their stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that officers have to go through that you don't know behind the scenes that warrant, them being able to do that. I mean, not saying that it's right, not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying it's a double-edged sword if you're going to take one side. I mean, yes, it's not right for them to be able to do that, but at the same time, they might have to, and also at the same time, they should have to wait. And then at the same time, on the other side, hey, they're the police, they've earned that right. Well, most of them have earned that right, pretty much. I mean, there are people that have gone out and particularly only state traffic officers because either the paperwork that they got to do extra for the next step up, or even because they don't want to, they want that benefit of lights and sirens to be able to do that. Some even like just interacting with people, no matter how asinine people act towards them. It's nice, because I want to promise you this: no matter how many assholes out there that will treat an officer like shit, there's always one person that officer will meet that day that will remind them why they're an officer. And most of you wonder how an officer gets up and does it every day. That one person that does not treat them like an asshole could be the difference between them having the rest of the day being good or being the rest of the day being bad, or whether or not you make that situation worse or not. It's all about attitude. So I'm signing off. I gotta go and look at Copart stuff, because the Impala, by the way, the person that said that Impala should be scrapped, the engine is good. The car does run. It does not drive because I have to put the motor mounts back in it. But I haven't even done any work to that car other than jump the starter out and hook power to it and make sure that it runs. And someone already wants to buy it as is. So, boo-hoo to you. So, we're already looking for another Copart car. What can you do? Fun is run. Peace.